this is the last of 5 zones, zone 5, which is going to be below the knee, through the calf and shin, through the ankle, and into the feet and toes. So we're going to start off with a muscle called soleus. I'm actually going to pull up my pant legs for these just so that you can see a little bit of the musculature. So if I do a calf raise like that, you're going to see the sort of classic double bump here of your calf muscle. That's a muscle called gastrocnemius on the surface. Deeper to that, the bigger, stronger calf muscle is actually a muscle called soleus. So in order to stretch that, I'm going to take my leg halfway, so not all the way in close and not all the way out, halfway. Basically, I'm going to do foot flexion. Sorry, no, this is extension for the ankles. This is flexion. So I'm going to do extension like this, and when I get to the top, I'm going to give it a little tug. And this ankle, I banged up really badly about 3.5 years ago, so you're going to see very limited range of motion on me in some of these. Okay, so that's for soleus, or the deeper calf muscle. All right, next, we're going to do the Achilles tendon, which is down here. And in order to make it focus more on the Achilles than the soleus, we're actually going to bring the foot in much closer. And when you do that, it's going to make the stretch focus down here. And again, because of that accident of mine, that right ankle does not do much in this. Okay, so we did the deeper muscle down here, we brought down and got the Achilles. We're now going to get that gastrocnemius muscle, which is the surface. And the way to do this is a little bit more like what we always think of it. So we're going to use our strap. We're going to take one foot all the way back, like that. And we want to use the shin muscles. We don't want to just use the strap. We want to use the shin muscles to draw the foot back, and at the very end, give it a little tug. Switch so that you can see the closest one. All right, so that's gastroc. So that gets some of the main muscles back here. Now, this front muscle is called tibialis anterior, or your shin muscle. A lot of us forget about it, but it's really kind of a big deal with walking and standing. So, in order to stretch it, so obviously for all the ones back here, we extended our ankle backwards. Now to get the front, we're going to flex our ankle. And when we get to the bottom, we're going to give a little bit of an assist, and you should feel that right along here. Yeah. And of course, because of that injury, the right side is far less open than the left. which doesn't mean I shouldn't be working on it. So now we're going to talk about inversion and eversion. So inversion is taking the foot in this direction. It's sort of like supination for the wrists. This is inversion of the foot. And then when you go the opposite direction and draw the ankle outwards that way, something I have very little range of motion for, that's called everting. So now the muscles that evert to go that way live on the outside edge of your lower leg. And to stretch those, we're going to invert. Just like when we did the wrist, and in order to stretch the supinators, we pronated, and in order to stretch the pronators, we supinated. This is going to be the same thing. In order to stretch the everters that go that way, we're going to do the opposite and invert. Most of these on me are going to look like my hands are doing all of the work. You should be trying to do the motion with your muscles. I just happen to be very weak and injured in these ways. Okay, so that was the everters on the outside. Now we're going to stretch the inverters, which live on the inside. And the way we can do that, I'm going to switch back to sitting here, is you want to think of that going this way. So drawing the ankle out like that, and then giving a turn. On my clients who don't have old, really bad ankle injuries, I can see much more range of motion in these. Let's make a distinction here. So inversion and eversion is the calcaneus, which is the heel bone, this big sort of spherical bone on your heel. Pronation and supination in the foot is actually the relationship of the front of the foot to the back of the foot. And so when we're talking about pronating the foot, we're talking about leaving the heel bone in place and twisting the top of the foot that way. Supinating is leaving the heel bone in place and twisting the top of the foot that way. So we're going to stretch the foot pronators. Again, those are the muscles that do that. So in order to stretch the muscles that do that, we need to go in the opposite direction. So you're going to hold your heel in place and try and twist your foot this way. And if you're able to, try and use your own muscles to do it first and then your hand to assist. I can barely do that. Okay. So that is the pronators. Now we're going to do the supinators. And the way we can do that is to keep our heel bone in place here with this hand, and now stretch the foot, the top of the foot, into a twist in the other direction. So, we basically did the lower leg, ankle, the middle of the foot. We're going to do one more thing. So we did twisting in the foot. Now we're going to do just the arch. So on this one, we can use the strap. And what you're going to do is use the strap to keep the bottom, the back of the foot extended actually, just so you know the ankle is the opposite of the wrist. So this is flexion, so we're extending the ankle, but then we're going to flex the toes over the strap, and we're using the strap to help us create a more curled arch. So you'll feel this stretch in the very top of the foot. Now we're going to talk about toe extension and flexion. Toe flexion, as we just said in the last stretch, is to curl them. Toe extension is to lift them. So if we want to stretch the muscles that curl our toes or flex them, we're going to extend them. If we want to stretch the muscles that extend them, we're going to flex them. So we want to stretch the extensors first. We're going to curl the toes down. And really, at first, you actually want to try and do this toe by toe. Nice and gentle. Yeah. The reason we want to do toe by toe is that you can hear that each one of these, towards the end, they're cracked, so you want to get that individual stretch. If you're not somebody like me, or you're somebody who has a lot of motion and ability to move their toes and their feet, then maybe you can just do the whole toes as a group. If you're like me and you have a bunch of ankle injuries and older injuries that you're dealing with, it's a really good idea to do this from time to time. So we just did the extensors, which are the muscles back here that lift your toes, and we did that by flexing. Now, in order to get the flexors, we're going to extend. It's been a while since I actually used my toes that much. This second to last stretch is a muscle that I love to work on clients on the table. It has a lot to do with balance because it's a big toe muscle, and it's a muscle called the big toe adductor. When we talk about adducting, we're talking about pulling towards the middle. So this is a muscle that does that and lifts up. So in order to stretch it, we're going to pull down and away. Be very gentle with this. Last but not least, we're going to do the toe webbing like we did with the hands. So this is the muscles that squeeze and separate your toes, and I don't really have much range of motion with these, but this is also very good for them. Okay, so that was zone 5. Again, that's everything from below the knee down through your toes. And we now have the entire AI series up, zones 1 through 5. Enjoy. Feel free to email us with any questions you have. And again, as I said at the intro of this, try to learn them all at first, but realize that in order to do this on a daily basis, you're really talking about 20 to 30 minutes when you get it down cold, let alone when you're learning. So once you feel like you've got the whole thing, pick out 15 to 20 that really mean something to you, that really feel like I should be doing these, this feels like it's really doing something for me, and try to take it down into a 10 to 15 minute daily routine. And then you can mix and match depending on the situation, depending on what activities you're up to and what sorts of things you're doing. Hope you enjoyed it all, and we'll have more soon. Great, thanks, bye.